There has never been a country that is committed to developing its industry and starts by cutting off its own industrial lifeline right from the beginning. And it is precisely Germany, a country that built its fortune on industry, that has done just that. Following the explosion of the Nord Stream gas pipeline, which was its energy artery, the Germans have now blown up their own most advanced coal-fired power plant. They keep shouting about revitalizing the industry and making Germany great again, but all they do are things that lead to deindustrialization. Why have the Germans, who once struck fear into Europe, become so absurd? In 2005, German Chancellor Angela Merkel took the lead in establishing a carbon emissions trading system, hoping to reap benefits from developing countries in the name of environmental protection. In my opinion, environmental protection policies are just empty talk. Look, which politician doesn't use environmental protection policies to win votes? They talk a big game, but in their hearts, it's all about business. They'll pursue it if it's in their interests, and back off if there's no gain. Facts have proven that my view is correct. Countries like the United Kingdom and the United States have successively withdrawn from the plans to reduce energy consumption and emissions and improve the climate. However, unexpectedly, there is actually a group in Europe that firmly implements environmental protection policies, and that is the German Green Party. Over the past more than 20 years, the German Green Party has always regarded changing the country as its own responsibility. They have carried out a series of actions that are beyond the comprehension of ordinary people. Finally, thanks to their efforts, Germany has been transformed in a new way. It has changed from a prominent European power to a European sick man with negative economic growth for several consecutive years. I wonder how Angela Merkel felt when she witnessed all these changes in Germany. Nowadays, Germany is still formulating various ambitious development plans to maintain its remaining dignity. But can a great Germany really be born from the smoke and ruins of the fallen thermal power plants? Throughout history, for a country to become prosperous and strong, it cannot do without a powerful industry. The British built the empire on which the sun never sets, relying on industry. The Germans swept across Europe twice by virtue of their industry. The Americans became the global hegemon through their industry. The Chinese, too, have rapidly developed into the world's second-largest economy by relying on industry and are on the verge of surpassing the United States to become the largest economy. Even the most unreliable Donald Trump knew that only by developing the industry could the United States be made great again, and he formulated the policy of industrial reshoring. In the early 21st century, the development of German industry reached its all-time peak. Made in Germany became a synonym for high quality, and its economy outperformed the whole of Europe. Angela Merkel even became the de facto leader of the European Union for a time. The reason why Germany was so powerful during this period was that it mastered the three core elements for industrial development: energy, technology, and market. At that time, Germany was using cheap natural gas from Russia. Relying on its own strong industrial foundation, the high-quality goods it produced were received by China, a super-large market. The Germans made a fortune through this system. However, with the explosion of the Nord Stream pipeline, everything changed. German industry began to gradually shrink. Because the cheap natural gas was gone, and there wasn't even a stable alternative power generation plan. Energy is the lifeline of industrial development, but now it has been cut off. So how can production be maintained? Therefore, many enterprises had to choose to leave Germany. BASF, Germany's largest chemical group, closed its local factories and chose to invest in China and the United States. Well-known enterprises such as Siemens, Volkswagen, and Bayer also began to shift their focus overseas. Logically speaking, without cheap natural gas for power generation, there should still be nuclear power and coal-fired power generation. The costs of these two are not high either. But the problem is, Germany's situation cannot be judged by common sense. Because of the existence of the German Green Party, a real troublemaker, everything has become abnormal. In terms of nuclear energy, the Green Party is a firm anti-nuclear group. After the Chernobyl accident, the anti-nuclear movement was in full swing. The German government had to promise to completely phase out nuclear power by 2022. However, in 2010, the Merkel government believed that shutting down nuclear power plants was an absurd act, so it extended the nuclear phase-out plan to 2036. However, the Fukushima nuclear crisis in Japan in 2011 ignited the anti-nuclear sentiment among the German people again. The German Green Party also took the opportunity to promote the nuclear phase-out plan and gain the support of many people. In order to ensure that there would be no surprises in the 2013 general election, Merkel, who originally opposed the nuclear phase-out, chose to compromise with the Green Party, and the nuclear phase-out plan was advanced again. In 2013, the Mülheim-Kärlich nuclear power plant, which was built to modern standards and had only been in operation for 13 months, was demolished. Since then, the nuclear phase-out has become the core of the Green Party's identity. Germany also started to move forward rapidly on the path of phasing out nuclear power. Even during the Russia-Ukraine conflict in 2022, when 60% of the people opposed the closure of nuclear power plants, the Green Party still insisted on implementing it. In 2023, Germany shut down its last 3 nuclear power plants and became a nuclear-free country. In addition to nuclear power, coal-fired power plants using coal as fuel are also the target of continuous attacks by the Green Party. Among traditional energy sources, the carbon emission intensity of coal-fired power is twice that of natural gas. In the eyes of the Green Party members who are passionate about the environment, this is obviously unforgivable. Therefore, the Green Party launched a very radical energy transformation plan, that is, to use renewable energy and hydrogen energy to replace fossil energy, and strive to phase out coal-fired power by 2030. In fact, energy transformation is not the wrong path. On the contrary, countries around the world are actively promoting it. However, the approach of the Green Party is different. They neither consider Germany's current energy situation, nor the current international situation. They just take a one-size-fits-all approach. We all know that wind power and solar power are good, but they are easily affected by the weather and cannot provide a stable power supply. At this time, traditional energy power generation is needed to cooperate. However, after the supply of cheap natural gas was cut off, Germany could only rely on coal-fired power plants to meet the power demand. But the Green Party doesn't care about this at all. They not only introduced strict environmental protection laws, but also imposed a carbon tax on coal-fired power plants. This has led to a significant increase in the electricity costs of enterprises. Even so, the Green Party still insists on phasing out coal-fired power plants. In my opinion, these people's way of thinking is really different from that of ordinary people. Others usually do it step by step, gradually phasing out old and technologically backward power plants first. But the German Green Party chooses to target the technologically advanced new power plants instead. The Moorburg power plant that was blown up at the end of March this year, officially connected to the grid for power generation in 2015. It has an installed capacity of 1,600 megawatts. This power plant uses ultra-supercritical coal-fired technology, with a thermal efficiency of over 45%. It is also equipped with an advanced dust removal and emission reduction system. Its overall design indicators are at the first-class level internationally. However, such a precious asset has become a thorn in the side of the Green Party. They believe that only by demolishing this most advanced power plant can Germany's determination for energy transformation be demonstrated, and the resurgence of fossil energy be ensured. For this concept, they ignored the power demand of the Port of Hamburg, and the investment of more than €3 billion in building the power plant. Finally, the Moorburg power plant, amidst huge explosions, turned into a pile of ruins. The Green Party has achieved an epic feat, but the price is that enterprises are fleeing in droves. Germany's highly anticipated Industry 4.0 has now become Industry 4.0. Not only have the German people lost their high-paying jobs, but their living costs are also constantly rising. So why does such an anti-intellectual Green Party still thrive in Germany, while the alternative for Germany, which is dedicated to saving the country, is resisted? The problem lies with the supporters of the Green Party. These people are all elites from big cities. They are neither stupid nor particularly evil. They just purely want to make Germany's environment better, so they choose to support the Green Party. In order to maintain its political influence, the Green Party can only keep promoting various environmental protection plans. Moreover, these political elites only think from their own perspective and never consider the situation of ordinary people. They only want to reap benefits, but they never think about how the people at the bottom can survive, nor do they think about where the future of German industry lies. Nowadays, the international situation is becoming more and more turbulent, the future of Europe is also uncertain, and Germany is deeply mired in recession. However, the politicians are still reveling in the success of their calculations. They are unaware that their actions have caused Germany to miss the opportunity for industrial upgrading, and they themselves have become pitiful victims of political interests. When the once glorious Made in Germany is submerged in the dust of history, it is foreseeable that these politicians wearing the cloak of elites will be reset, and they will ultimately be nailed to the pillar of shame.